What a weekend for our friend Chris Canty. His alma mater, which has always been a basketball school, if we're being honest.
Okay.
Virginia makes its first Final Four in 35 years.
Yeah, so
congratulations, man.
So much shade coming.
What do you mean?
I mean, you know what? I understand. You know why he's doing this, CC?
I'm just happy for
Because he thought his school was the real orange and blue when it comes to athletics in the ACC. Just had to let him know it's not going down like that.
Listen, I'm happy you guys
we're in Minnesota. We're going to Minnesota.
He's also a Mets fan.
So. We can't make the Final Four every year at Syracuse. Like, what is it, 2 of the last 5 or something? I'm happy for you guys.
Okay.
It's a good win for Tony Bennett and the crew.
Congrats,
man.
All right, let's talk football then. That make you feel better?
That's a bad guy.
Eli Manning. Hey, people thought it was a mistake when the Giants didn't draft his replacement last spring. People thought they'd never make that mistake again. Those people are not happy today. Looks like the Giants are doubling down on the 2-time champ in Eli Manning. Reports are the Giants are considering keeping Eli, not just for 2019, but for 2020 as well. Kenny, how surprising is this?
I'm hoping that this is just posturing by Dave Gettleman to throw people off the scent of the Giants being interested in one of these quarterbacks at the top of this year's draft. Because that report right there, when they're talking about Eli Manning not only being the guy for the entire 2019 season, but being your starter going into 2020, that's crazy to me. And the thought of having to extend him in order to do that because he's going into a contract year, that's asinine. Like, there's no way that you can justify doing that for Eli Manning based on the production that he's given you the last several seasons. I thought what they did last offseason was an attempt to be able to put the talent around him so Eli Manning, you could get the best out of him. But clearly, Eli Manning's no longer a quarterback that can elevate the play of everybody around him. You gave him Saquon Barkley. You retooled the offensive line. You had one of the best receivers in the National Football League in Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, at some point, we just have to stop running out of excuses for Eli Manning. And I know that's tough coming from me because I'm a former teammate of Eli, won a Super Bowl with Eli. But I realize that this is not the same quarterback that won Super Bowl 46 MVP. It's just not. The Giants have lost 50 games in the last 5 years, and baked into that is an 11-win season. So that just shows you how bad this team has been. 4 of the last 5 years, double-digit loss seasons?
Right.
That's unacceptable by any standard.
But you can't dismiss this for this one reason. When they didn't draft a quarterback in 2018, it was almost a guarantee we would be in this position in 2019. The quarterback's a position that you can see a year out on. And by that I mean, this year, if they do not draft a quarterback or trade for Rosen, then of course Eli will be the quarterback in 2020. Like, unless the season goes so far to hell that you end up with the #1 pick, you draft Tua, then you don't know. If you don't draft your guy or get your guy a year early, you don't know who's going to be there the next season. So whenever you leave the cupboard bare on who's going to replace your aging veteran, you know you run the risk that the following year, the aging veteran is just going to be an even more aging veteran. So I don't think it's just posturing. I think it's the Giants recognizing we might not be able to trade up for a quarterback. We might not want to pay the price to move into the top 3 if that's necessary. Maybe the Patriots will trade the 32nd pick for Rosen if he comes available, and we don't want to trade the 17th. Like, there is an element of course it's possible that Eli's there in 2020, which when a lot of people think he shouldn't have been there in 2017 is going to feel devastating, but that is the situation that the Giants find themselves in.
I'm with you. All right, and I don't have to apologize because I didn't play with the Giants. And I'll let you know, I watched the whole season. Eli didn't lead y'all to no Super Bowl. He happened to be driving the car in those critical moments, but that was a very, very good football team. And this team that he has now, I would say there's not one area that they are better besides their running back than that team that won a Super Bowl. So what we're looking at is 2 totally different things. So I don't have to apologize. I believe Dave Gettleman and what they're doing is I believe they're just fooling the public. I believe this is all just a bunch, because I looked at their roster. They ain't got 5 players that I would make as a starter in 2020. Like, I'm looking up and down. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, I might get the guard, Hernandez. I might let him, okay, because he's new and everything.
Ingram.
The tailback is definitely going to be there. Nate Solder, I paid him a lot of money at left tackle. He's going to be there. And there's a couple guys on the defense with a roll of the dice. They can play in 20, let alone Eli. So I'm not going to be moved by this. I'm not going to allow the Giants with the 6th pick, with a couple quarterbacks potentially with the 1st round grade. And let's not forget, they might use that second first-round pick to be able to draft someone, or that second-round pick to try to trade. I believe they are going to get a quarterback because it doesn't make sense for someone in the Giants organization to leak in April into March, hey, you know something? We like Eli so much, he's going to be even our quarterback in 20. So I'm not going to be concerned about this. I'm not going to be concerned at all. I believe this is just normal NFL pre-draft posturing. I don't believe Eli Manning will be the quarterback in 2020.
Chris Canty, who would you like to see be the quarterback for this Giants team? It looks like it's going to be Eli 2019 unless they get a young guy to sit behind him, or Rosen. But it looks like those are the options right now. Trade for Josh Rosen or try to draft one of the top 2 guys in the draft.
Well, I love Dwayne Haskins, and we have been talking about him on this show for months now. I mean, in terms of what you're looking for at the quarterback position, his ability to be able to process information, I think it makes a whole lot of sense for the Giants to get their hands on him, because I see him developing into one of those guys that can be a force multiplier, somebody that can be a difference maker, somebody that doesn't have to have everything around them perfect in order for your team to have a chance to compete week in and week out. But ultimately, it's going to be about Dave Gettleman having a conviction about a guy, whether he's trading for Rosen, Daniel Jones' name been thrown in there, Drew Lock, Kyler Murray. This is all about what Dave Gettleman wants. I mean, he's the guy that's developing the plan in terms of how to lead this team into the future. And so, to me, I think that the thing that the Giants have to focus on is being able to get their hands on a young quarterback. I think that's why you made the Odell Beckham Jr. trade a few weeks ago. I mean, you got the draft capital back in order to position the franchise to get a guy that can be a difference maker. Because Eli Manning, he's 38 years old. And Pat Shermer said it at the owners' meeting. At some point, Eli Manning ain't going to be playing quarterback for the New York Giants. Going into the last year of his contract, I think this is the right offseason for the Giants to address the quarterback position.
Yeah, and I think they should address it with Haskins. I don't think that they should trade for Josh Rosen. I do believe Josh can fit some places. I do like the price they're going to pay but for him, as far as the fixed salary for the next several years. But I don't like the type of football. I don't believe his body's big enough, and I don't believe he throws the ball with enough velocity to be able to be successful on the East Coast. Haskins, born and raised in New Jersey, spent most of his time as a youth in Maryland, so he's played a lot of cold football, played in cold elements last year at Ohio State. So it's just not the prospect, it's the style. I believe he has a personality. He's very quiet, very family oriented, not high maintenance, and I believe that would suit him well. He's got a nice little smile to him. I believe that would be nice on Madison Avenue, but ultimately he's got the big gun that can throw the ball in the windy conditions here. That's something that Eli benefited from. He's got a big time arm. That's the reason why he's been able to have a long career. But Haskins is the right fit, not only personality for this market, but how he throws the football.
All right, we'll take a break, Canty. We'll see you a little bit later on the show. Coming up, hey, can the Sixers compete for an NBA title this season? That's next on First Things First.